Good evening and welcome to the programme. Tube and bus fares are going up, but by a little less than we first thought. Boris Johnson announced the detail of the reduced increases today, saying it was good news that he'd won concessions from the government. Most fares, however, are still going up above inflation. Seeing an opportunity, the announcement was ambushed by supporters of Ken Livingstone, the Labour candidate in next year's mayoral elections. As Gareth Furby reports.
We've organised this group of my supporters to come here today.
The mayor came here to announce that the rise in fares won't be quite so high, but a group of his Labour opponents were ready with an ambush.
I'm delighted to have their support.
Why ambush Boris's press conference?
Well, I think it's disgraceful that Boris has put up fares for bus fares 50% over the time that he's been mayor, and he's still putting up fares.
Aren't they nice?
An early skirmish then in the coming election campaign. So how do fares work out now that the increase is slightly less? On the buses, a single fare will go up 3.8% to £1.35. On the tubes, a Zone 1 to 6 fare in peak time will go up 6.7% to £4.80. And a 7-day all zones travel card is up 6% to £53.40. And one of the steepest rises is if you pay by cash, £4.30 for the cheapest ticket. But Boris Johnson is keen to point out the increases are less than previously announced, and all because of government money.
Thanks to the Chancellor's 136 million that he's given us in cash, we're able to keep down the rises without in any way jeopardising any of our vital infrastructure projects.
But his opponents take a different view.
Even this reduced fare increase is still completely over the top. We have the highest fares in the world, and fine, it's come down from a 7% increase to 5.5%, but it should be 0 this year.
Boris needs to drop the vanity projects like the Route Master bus and the cable car across the Thames and put that money into keeping fares as low as possible.
And some passengers we spoke to had definite views.
It's a slight concession, which is better than no concession, but it's still not necessarily that good.
It's better that it's a smaller rise, but we're paying through the nose.
1% is nothing, really.
The mayor sees it as a significant change, but whatever the arguments, for people who don't rely on a bike to get around, London's public transport will still cost more in the new year. Gareth Furby, BBC London News.
Well, our political editor Tim Donovan joins me in the studio. Tim, it seems that George Osborne has helped out Boris Johnson here, but in a wider sense, how might this impact the election?
It's one of the key powers, individual powers, a mayor has to decide on these fares. He had opted, Boris Johnson, for 2% above inflation, as we know. Has George Osborne ridden to the rescue? Yes, absolutely, without doubt. Ahead of an election, although he's reduced the increases in rail fares across the country as well. There are lots of reasons why George Osborne would like a Conservative mayor, Boris Johnson, to continue as mayor. Now, will it work? Well, as Gareth says in his film, these are still fairly increases which will feel perhaps quite steep when they come in January. People, though, will now, I think, take away with them the thought that, something's being done to ease the pain, particularly in this week when we've heard, so much that has been gloomy.
OK, Tim, thank you very much for that.